In this short video, I'll be showing you the steps on how to find a case by party name in Westlaw Australia. The example case that I'll be using is a case by the party name of Mallard against the Queen. So let's jump straight into the homepage of Westlaw Australia. And on the homepage, you click on All Cases. And then in the search field, right up at the top of the screen, enter in your party name. So at the moment, I'm only entering in Mallard, M-A-L-L-A-R-D, and you'll notice that I'm not worrying about using uppercase, so you can just use lowercase. And already there's some cases that are starting to display with a party name of Mallard. And you can see here there's a bunch of different cases, and they are not the ones that I'm after. You'll also see under More the remaining search results. Now, I was a bit lazy and I could have entered into that search field up the top, Mallard against the Queen, and it probably would have taken me straight to my case. But that's okay, I can still salvage this search. So I can scan down these search results and I can now see where my case is. So it's down the bottom here, Mallard against the Queen, and I can also see the different parallel citations. And the one that I want is CLR. So in Australia, CLR is a recognised authorised law report, and we should always try and use cases from authorised law reports when they're available. And CLR stands for Commonwealth Law Report. So that is the case that I want. Now I'm going to click on that link to open it up, and the case is now displayed. And you can scroll up and down to look at the case details on the screen here. But what I suggest you do is always double check up here, has it opened up the authorized version of the report that you want? So at the moment, I can see that this is a HCA report, which is not an authorized law report version here in Australia. I need to go to the CLR version of this case. And so I can see over here on the right-hand side are the other versions available to me. You may need to open up this little panel by clicking on the grey icon, depending on your screen resolution. But basically, you need to look over here, and here's the case that I want. Here's the CLR version. So I'll click on that link. Great, so now I can see I have the CLR version open on my screen, which is fantastic, and I can scroll up and down to look at the case details and do some reading from this view if I want to. Alternatively, I can also download this PDF CLR version over here on the link. I would just click that link and download and save that PDF to my own personal folder as you normally would with PDFs. Alternatively, you can also click on the little mail icon and you can email the case to yourself, or maybe you might want to print it if you have your printer set up, and there's another download option as well for you. And beside that, there's also the folder icon in Westlaw. So you may want to save some of your cases and create a folder within Westlaw that's just pertaining to your own research. So if you want, you can click on there, create a folder and save that case into that folder. And then later on, if you want to come back, you don't have to search for that case again. You can simply go to the folders link up on the top here, and that will take you to your own folders that you've previously created. Now, before we finish this tutorial, just a few things I want to mention. So we can see here that this case did go up through the court hierarchy all the way up to the High Court in Australia. So what is always good practice once you've opened up your case is to look at the tabs over here in Westlaw Australia, because you will find some very important information and links that's going to lead to some really good research for your legal studies, and also if you're using Westlaw Australia in legal practice. So straight away I can see here that this case, on the negative treatment tab, there's 4 records here that alert me to the fact that there's been some negative treatment that's been given to this case. So I would want to do some research in there to see what's happened following this case. And now, given that it's been escalated up through to the High Court, I should really try and understand and learn, well, what was it that made this court be escalated up through the court hierarchy all the way up to the High Court. Now, there's a history tab here, and I can see there's 3 records there. So just simply click on the history tab. And straight away, we now have an amazing, fantastic visual diagram. I have to tell you, I relied so heavily on this information in the history tab during my legal studies, and I think you will find it a very helpful tool as well. So with this visual diagram, I can see that there is some history here with links that will take me to the cases that happened leading up to the High Court case. So straight away, can we see here, down here, there's the letter A, and then there's B and C. Now that correlates over here on the left-hand side. Can you see it says A, B, and C? So that's just if you're wondering how to connect this information over here to the process flow diagram. And with A down the bottom here, I can see that there was a case in the Western Australia Criminal Court of Appeal that occurred in 2003, and it appears that Mallard applied to the High Court for special leave to appeal the verdict in the case in Western Australia. And then we can see over in C that the High Court obviously allowed that appeal, and actually the decision looks like it reversed the decision of A. See how it says reversing A? So I can see straight away that in 2005, when it went to the High Court, it actually overturned the decision that was made back in 2003 in Western Australia. So straight away, I've got access to the links here. I can drill down and continue my research. So highly recommend you get familiar with the history tab. Now, the other tab up here that I want to alert you to is the citing references tab. So in here, straight away, I can see that there's 251 records where there's other cases and secondary resources that have made references to this case. So straight away, that's telling me that this case has had some flow-on effects, and I need to drill down and do some further research. The other thing I wanted to alert you to here is to get familiar with these flags. So I will do a separate tutorial in more detail around these key site flags, but just get familiar with looking at these flags and making a note and drilling down and doing further research when you see these flags. This red flag here, as I hover over it, you can see the text there says key site red flag for Mallard and Queen, and that, as we just discussed before, was because that case was overturned. So that's why there's a red flag there. And then the orange flag, or it might be yellow for some people, that's alerting me to the fact that there has been some negative treatment made to that case. So there you have it. There's a really quick walkthrough on how to find a case by party name in Westlaw Australia.